15 points, that's 7. That's 7, okay. We're good to go, spinning up the.
Good.
Okay, it is now 7 p.m. on Monday, January 12th, 2026. I call this committee of the whole meeting to order. Ms. Sully, will you please call the roll?
Jennifer Quickly. Here. Chris Hamilton.
Here.
Erica Peterson. Here. Julia Phipps. John Ruggles. Fred Spectrum.
Here.
And Lisa Booster. Here.
Please rise for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, number 4, public comments. Ms. Sully, do we have any public comments?
We do not.
Wonderful. Number 5, would anybody like to add any informational or discussion items to the agenda? Moving on. Number 6, information and discussion, mid-year goal update.
Awesome. So in front of you, you have an executive summary that I sent out last Friday as well. Anybody had a chance to look at it and have any questions? I have would love to answer them. But just to summarize our academic performance, what we're shooting for, we don't have any updates on this because we haven't had any assessments since the beginning of the year. Although we just started this week with our NWA assessment, so we'll know what our midterm winter scores are. These reflect a 3-point increase in every category. All being, our goals are all over 60% or more of our students achieving their goals on NWEA or MET. That is wonderful if we can consistently have 60% of our students or more meet their NWEA goals. It doesn't sound that exciting or thrilling, but that's beating the average, and it's kind of like beating the stock market index fund average. It's tough to do consistently over time. So those are our goals. I'd like to show the board too where we landed on IAR scores and relative to our feeder schools, not mentioning any names of feeder schools in here because I don't want to do that. But Millburn, just to get an idea of where Millburn falls with all the middle schools in the county, or not in the county, in our area. Right here is where we landed last year with ELA. So we had 73% of our students meeting or exceeding in the middle school on ELA, which is outstanding. However, when I look at this column, this is our standard growth percentile. When we look at growth, we were less than average growth in reading. So we scored high, but our growth wasn't that great. I think that's a more important score. There are other schools in our area that had higher growth scores than we did. If I look at math, we were not the highest, or we were the highest score in math. All the scores jumped last year, so getting a comparison from year to year is a little bit interesting. Because the state changed the cut scores for what is meets and what succeeds, so they would match up more nationally with where other states were, because people were, as you know, Illinois, you're so terrible, but our scores were actually higher than other states. So they're trying to match up the cut scores with other states so that we're more comparable. So everybody jumped significantly on our raw scores. As you can see, almost everybody moved up. Some people, some districts or school buildings more than others. So if we look at our elementary schools for meets and exceeds in reading. Highest again, our growth was very high in reading and math. Last year at the elementary school as well, we'd like to see that above 65, 60, because that can get us into the exemplary range. We were close, but not quite. Most of our scores, we can do another presentation on the state reporting tool accountability model. That's a long, more complicated discussion. Ben has presented on that in the past and can go through that. We were close. We were only a few points off at the elementary school this year. So. But not quite there. But that score, most of it is based on growth and attendance. We've talked about that before too. Attendance is part of that.
So that's the old exemplary overall, not just for math scores.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all. But math and ELA scores count for a big chunk, the growth part. We max out all of our scoring with achievement. We're way beyond. We get as many points as we can, but our growth is why we're missing the mark.
Yeah.
And attendance.
Is
was
growth
one
a
of the-
factor of how high the scores are initially, because we're looking to
Yeah.
grow from those already high
Yep.
scores, so.
Yep.
We're somewhat challenged in our initial high ratings in that, because growth is what they're measuring for that performance, and that's tougher to hit, or what are the other
I would
reasons?
say that's maybe not the case.
Okay,
I think if you have high scores, you can still grow
okay,
in that measure, because it's taking your raw score and pushing it from year to year. So there's other schools that have high scores that still have high growth percentile, so.
Okay.
It's a good question. It's something to look into, but
Attendance is down nationwide.
our attendance last year was better relatively than other school districts. And I know at the elementary school, Ben worked really hard to get that attendance up, and Carrie really focused on that. And so did Jake at the middle school, but I think it paid off. It was
Get a better score.
still low. It's still not where we want it to be, but
Not awesome,
not
but
awesome.
better than previous years.
Yep.
We had more points for the report card. We had issues. And it's out of possible 100 points. And it's worth 20 out of those.
but there's no separation of the concept of. Lack of attendance due to actual illness versus, problematic causes of lack of attendance, right? I know that that's not a problem we can resolve, because it's how it's being scored.
Right.
But that's something that's always bothered me, right? Because chasing sick kids into the school is a good way to drive attendance numbers down if you're spreading that around, right?
Correct.
A lot of those. They'll get an email from me, and then also they get an email from our health department to say, this is when you should stay at home.
Right.
It's like, you want me to send this way, you want me to keep them at home?
Yeah, and as a parent, I feel the confusion, and I've heard that from other parents too, right? There's this struggle of getting them into school, but when they're sick, I would prefer not to see lots of sick kids at school, right? But I guess that's not a problem we can solve locally.
I don't think the biggest offenders are the ones who are keeping their kids home sick. It's the ones who miss every Monday, or they
Right,
take a week-long vacation in the middle of school year. Those are the ones that you can do something about.
mhm,
That's who we're targeting. The chronic absent. Not due to illness. I mean, we understand that. We
right,
don't want kids in school. But it is tough to discern. It's still tough for us to discern sometimes
right.
with families. Are they ill?
Well, it's tough for parents to discern too,
It's tough
right?
for parents to discern, yes. Yeah, how far do you push it with your
Right.
kids? Yep.
Also, it's problematic the way contagion works, right? Earlier in illnesses, people are more contagious when they're less sick, and we're driving them in during those time periods, right?
Yep.
We're trying to just keep it under 18 absences, 10%. That's it, 17.
That's like 10% of their school year.
Yeah.
You know, and over the course of 9 years, you've missed a whole school year.
Yeah, unfortunately, like one bad illness can knock out, 5 or 7 of
Whole
those
classroom.
kids
and everything.
for a lot of kids.
Yeah, it's a challenge. So that's just a little sidebar on the IAR scores, for academic goals. For increasing us, we're also focusing on other implementations at UDL. Trying to improve our tier 1, really our focus this year, when we started the year was tier 1, and we're gonna have a presentation on what that means coming up in February too, talking about MTSS, multi-tiered system of support. So there's 3 tiers, 3 levels of services for kids that we give. And so our focus is on the classroom main. What everybody gets, let's get that as best we can and improve that. So that's been our focus this year. And some of the strategies and professional development around that have been focused on how do we improve our instruction across the board. So we've had 8 to 10 hours at least of that already this year. And there's also, in addition to that, we have opportunities where teachers can work directly with coaches, instructional coaches, to get additional time and certain groups of that additional focus time outside of that 8 to 10 hours. But 8 to 10 has been for everybody in UDL principals. We're also implementing second year of new math curriculum. ELA, we have a selection process underway for the middle school to select a new curriculum for the middle school. And they just chose a 3rd curriculum to pilot. So that's coming up at the next board meeting. And we need to approve that if the board is okay. We would like to get that approved at the next board meeting so we can get rolling on that. And then writing, we recognize that writing from time to time over the course of time at Millburn has been a weakness in our curriculum. And we need to get kids who have more stamina in writing and can focus on it more, because that's a higher level thinking process, and to be better at it. So we're focused at the elementary school on, let's spend a little bit more time on writing and getting the kids ready for that. No specific plans. We don't want to take away from our main focus of the UDL principles and the tier 1 instruction, but it's definitely conversations that we're having. And do we need to have a formal curriculum put in place for that, or change that, or add something? Goal 2 is increase the sense of belonging, culture, and climate. So we have restorative practices that we continue to do, shifting from a punitive discipline model to more restorative approaches, addressing the root cause of conflict that strengthen the school community. We've been working on that now for 4 or 5 years, somewhere in there. And so we're continuing to refine that process. We also want to get parents and staff community involved, and we've been having some events to that end, and Monday we'll have 2 more events getting the community involved. And we've been talking a lot about facilities and finance this year, specifically facilities, getting a facilities plan in place. And moving forward, we've got aging buildings, and how are we going to keep them updated and upgraded, and how are we going to pay for that? So all of that has been part of our plans this year. Second half, we're going to continue to prioritize UDL professional development and finalize the 6th through 8th grade ELA curriculum and the facility maintenance roadmap for the board to continue to review as we get things ready.
Excellent.
Any questions, comments?
All right, moving on. Multilingual services update.
Okay. So one of the suggested topics that we asked if the board was interested in was multilingual services last meeting, and Jen said, yep, let's see something on that. That was one of her suggestions, so here we go. So we have a range, again, it's a tiered system. Range of services that we provide for kids based on their needs. It's very individualized because you can imagine we have 27 on kids that are currently getting services that we know speak a second language or their parents speak a second language in the home. 27 different languages currently, all coming with a different base level knowledge. So some maybe have been in the country for or speaking English for a year or less, and some have been speaking English their whole life, but still need extra support because of the exposure at home to the English language. So what we try to do is get kids what they need. In order to do that, we have 3 full-time staff dedicated to that, 2 teachers and a paraprofessional. Mr. Rollins oversees that through as the director of student services. And then there's operational leadership with a teacher slash coordinator, and then 1 teacher and 1 paraprofessional who are delivering services as well. There's also a monthly committee that meets to look at the data, look at are we meeting the needs of kids? Are we missing anybody, to try and make sure that that program is being implemented with fidelity. So these are the different areas of newcomer status. So if someone is in the US for less than a year from a non-English speaking company, we give all kids get a screening for their levels of English speaking abilities. And if they score 1 to 2.5, they get high score. So newcomers get very high intensity daily, 40 minutes. That could be either a pull out or push in, depending on scheduling, depending on that student's need, what works best for them. Sometimes pulling a student out of class is better because you can give that direct one-on-one instruction. Sometimes pushing in and just supporting the student in the classroom to help them just manage the routines and get them acclimated is better, especially at the beginning if they're newer. Then we have high service level, so a score of 3 or below, still 5 days a week, and that again can be very flexible on how that looks, push in or pull out model. And the moderate service level, that's different score, would qualify them. A 3.1 to 4.1 on the WIDA test would be a 2 to 3 days per week. So as students start to score better on this assessment, we ramp down the services. Collaboration and monitor status, as they of course need less services, then it's more of a consultation with the teachers to make sure that they're continuing to do what they need to be doing and are progressing as they should. Of course, clinical judgment and professional discretion within this, so we're tight to the, hey, these are our guidelines for all of these different levels, but if we see that students have a need, we give them what they need. And we should be doing that for all kids, and that's our goal. But we want to make sure that that's happening with language services as well.
So let's say we have a newcomer who Azerbaijan, or I don't know even know what language they speak there. And we don't have any staff who speaks the language from that country. What do we do for those students? How do we support them if they're newcomer and we don't have anybody already?
So there's a good question. We would get them as many resources as we can. So their translation services with Google Translate is amazing now. So we can help a little bit with translating. We have cards that we would give the kids with pictures on them, especially the younger ones, like bathroom or different charts. So our teachers, our ML teachers are trained in what to do in that scenario, because they don't speak any second.
So neither of the multilingual teachers speak another language.
So the scenario he just asked about, every student is in that category because,
Well, 27,
okay.
except we have our paraprofessional speaks a second language,
And when you say 27, that's 27 languages?
languages.
So we have 27 distinct languages other than English being spoken just in our small population.
Probably more than that, but yes,
Wow.
of the students that we serve in this particular group today, yes. Out of that 78, there's 27 different languages, dialects.
Also 78 students.
Yep.
I thought there was a time when you said 27 students as well.
27 languages,
Right.
78
Got it.
dialects, yep.
So
See, but total,
the
isn't it?
staff allocation for that, like. Just looking at K-5, the 58 of the 78 students are at the K-5 school, with elementary, and then 20 are at the middle school. So is it like? You're full-time here, you're full-time there, or does somebody travel, or how are we maximizing staff for that?
That changes depending on the need, but yes, we have, one is full-time here, I believe.
One is full time here and then one is at.
How about the paraprofessional, is she full-time here? At times she has traveled,
Yeah, depending on the need,
but based on,
depending on the level of severity. That's the need.
Do you have classroom teachers with ESL certification that,
yes, 24.
and that, is that?
Oh, no, they're servicing 24, providing services for 24 students.
Okay,
We have, so up here, we don't have any with endorsements past third grade. Currently,
that's where it would help the most, is to have it at the middle school, okay.
we have some at the middle school, but they're not. I don't track that because the kids go from class to class to class,
Right,
where it's self-contained at the elementary school, so there, we put them in an English or ESL doors. Teacher's classroom would be elementary, but we don't. It would just be random walk. If that makes any sense.
And I don't know if you guys track this data and maybe it doesn't matter that much, but I'm just curious. So for someone who starts, from a newcomer status or in the high service level, is there a general timeline for how they feed back down through these levels, as they get integrated, or is it totally dependent on per student?
Totally depends on the student.
So you guys don't have any goals or objectives when someone comes in at a certain grade level to try to get them to a certain point in a certain time frame?
Research says 7 years on average, I believe, it
Okay.
takes to become. Fully immersed in the language.
and the state test that they have to take to get these numbers
Mhm.
is so cumbersome, and it takes like days and weeks to finish this test.
Okay.
And so these kids are being pulled out to take the test during that time. It's. That,
It's not fun.
something at the state level, like that's something that needs to be revamped or taken a look at, like. That assessment is a lot.
Yes.
And
And
it-
we also have 14 students who are dually identified with special education services too. So if a student has special education services. If they have a general learning disability, they're really gonna struggle learning a new language too.
Right.
So they may never exit the program. Possible,
When that happens, are you evaluating students in their native language and English?
huh?
When possible.
When possible.
We've had some native languages that we've not been able to find a qualified. Yeah, so we've had to have an interpreter, which is not ideal, but we do what best we can. We recently had a student that needed a speech and language evaluation. We were able to find their native language. They came from Naperville, but it was very difficult to find. I can't remember what language it was, but it was very difficult to find. And yeah. We do try our best to find them.
Is the sealed by literacy just a high school thing, or is that also something that, are you familiar with that at all? Okay.
It's high school.
Okay.
Yeah. It goes in their diploma.
Oh, okay, so that thing, yeah, diploma, yeah, makes sense.
Okay,
Any other questions or comments?
Thank you for doing that.
that answer your questions?
You know, I hadn't obviously been in the building for a number of years, and when I came through at school supply drop off, just walking through the hallways, I was like, okay. It's different than when my kids were here, and I imagine that you're facing a variety of needs and, you know, the multilingual being a big part of that. So I appreciate knowing kind of how the district is handling servicing those students.
Yes, we've added one FTE
Specific for that program.
over the course of. When did we add? Sir?
It's been. A little bit too.
So definitely the needs have grown for sure. Over the last 10 years.
Oh,
All right.
moving on, I just noticed, is it the administrator wear black day?
Yeah.
Did that just happen randomly?
Here.
Oh, yeah.
Next week.
Ah, there you go. Right. Okay, future agenda items, financial projections, student behavior programming, and registration and activity fees. For in the future. Superintendent report.
Okay, I think I mentioned this before, but I've been invited to two different sessions. The Lindenhurst Housing Focus Group was interesting. I know Chris.
I did the time, but was it good?
It was okay. It was interesting. So they're looking at, hey, we have a housing shortage and Lindenhurst has a housing issue because it's not affordable for people to live here and work here in Lindenhurst. So it was interesting, just the statistics of what it costs for a family of four to have a house of certain level. There's a gap in housing as far as smaller starter homes, and this is nationwide. So builders aren't building starter homes anymore because they're too expensive to build. So why would they build? There's no incentive to build a 1,200 square foot ranch house. But because they have that roof and that footprint and the foundation costs the same, they could double it and more than double the price and square footage. So there's no incentive for them to build a small house. And it takes up space too. No, I guess space. And there's all kinds, so they went through all kinds of interesting information. There was no real solutions.
Of course, the townhomes in Lindenhurst also aren't exactly in the starter home price range, I don't.
They
think,
are not.
either, so.
They are not very expensive. So, yeah, it was interesting and, of course, representing a school district that takes up a lot of property tax in the room I was not very
I
popular,
was gonna say, yeah, I bet you weren't popular with those folks.
but that was okay. It was good to answer some questions, and there's just the reality of how Illinois is structured. Well, how do we fix it and how much, where do we go to make the changes? And a lot of it's at the state level, but there are some things we can do locally. Some of the ordinances, can we attract businesses in? There's some more discussion about that and the challenges of attracting a business into Lindenhurst, especially as come on over to the Millburn side of Lindenhurst, because we need those businesses to keep our property taxes down so that more businesses come in. It's just a kind of a vicious cycle.
We don't have a lot of geographic locations in the Millburn, Lindenhurst district for businesses either, right? There's not.
We have a business park though. That's underdeveloped.
Right
By
here.
Lake Forest Health and Fitness.
Mhm.
On the water tower, it says Lindenhurst Business Park. There's land back there.
I didn't know we had the business park.
I know. People forget about that, but.
Costco. Thought we were gonna buy it.
We're gonna get a Costco, we're gonna get a Casey's, we were gonna get a Trader Joe's. Huh?
All of that. was-
Yeah, you said Casey's was coming.
Yes, it's the one that cases we found.
I wouldn't mind a Woodman's.
All of those would be good. Any of those would be good.
Anything.
Yeah, any one of those suggestions would work well.
But they have. They apparently wanna make money, so. They have their formulas of how the population density, there's not enough population density yet. Townhomes may help us, our cause actually, and the retirement community there. It's a little more population dense than the other neighborhoods, so. That could help down the road. And there's lots of land on the Millburn Warren side,
Mhm.
lots. That's where most of our open land is, so there's potential. But is it gonna be the right type of building? We don't know. So there's
So nothing was solved.
nothing was solved, no, just a lot of hand wringing, but that's okay. Be interesting to see what they come up with. Also participating in a countywide housing. Similar, just presenting information and a lot of hand wringing. That's on Wednesday of this week, another session. Again, we're piloting our curriculum, the ELA curriculum at the middle school. We're gonna ask at the next board meeting for board approval to pilot it. Sounds like it's gonna be free, except we have to pay $800 to get trained on, it. So. That'll be very nice. And then today we got, some PD audit letters, a bunch of our teachers. Did that happen in Waukegan?
It was from Hello at Isby. Did you see it? So
Yeah.
some people thought it was like fake because it said how, like, it
Yeah,
came
hello,
from Hello at Ismorelli, but no, we got tons of them,
I got one.
tons of them.
You got one?
Personal.
Even though I'm another time track.
So apparently, Dr. Carter just emailed us, right before the board meeting. It might be a mistake, a little glitch in the system, because ISB could not ever do that many audits. It's impossible.
It was so many,
So many.
everyone I talked to, yes.
So I think it was whoever had finished their
Renewed last year,
renewed in 2025.
2020 to 2020.
Yep. That was you.
This is my one last time.
That seems to be the pattern, right? You?
Yeah, I didn't get one,
Oh,
just a lot
other
of people I knew did.
So I think it was a mistake. ISB, but a lot of people panicking today.
Nice, what do you mean, what's the audit, I'm not,
So in order for us to get our certificate, every 5 years, we have to have 120 hours of professional development. Documented in a state website.
okay.
It's called Ellis. That's the right one. So the Ellis website, so we have to go in and document that we have done it, and we have to have evidence, and we have to have a file. So if we ever get audited, that we actually took the course that we told ISB we took for the number of hours that we have that documentation. The school district also has the documentation, so when we do professional development at the school, we have to document that and go through and collect all kinds of information. So every time we do professional development, there's a big file that's created of all the people that did it, all their information, what time they clocked in, what time they clocked out, they signed in, they signed out. There's evidence of completion form, there's a summary of that, and then there's an evaluation form that has to be done and filled out and tallied. And Veronica does that. Connie did it last year. She retired now, Veronica. So it's a lot. And we get audited on that part every 4 years. The ROE comes in and looks through every one and says, are you doing it right? Et cetera. It's a lot.
So it's unusual, like these.
Yeah,
I got you, okay, thank you.
I've never heard of anybody being audited.
I've never heard of anybody
Oh, okay.
today.
Everybody is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard people get audited.
Really? I never known anybody that got
I
it.
know a few people.
Huh,
But
okay.
no, but yeah, today, everyone I talked to, they're like, did you get there? I was like, no. Did not, it's my fingers, I don't want one.
Nope. It's just a pain. So anyway, probably nothing. They'll probably come out tomorrow and say, oops, sorry. Panic for no reason.
I've already pulled all my evidence of.
Everybody's looking, I threw my file away, I thought I was done.
Could be new AI software they got to go through the system automatically.
Sounds like the email address was a pretty big giveaway.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? It was like hello@ISB. I was like, I asked our professional development person, I had a meeting with her this afternoon, and she's the one who keeps track. I go, do you think it's weird? It's from hello. She goes, that is weird. She goes, but I do think it's a mistake. She thought it was a mistake that everyone got all these two.
Once I started hearing more people, yes.
Right, but email was weird. for sure.
Ironically, we had a phishing, because we have our insurance company does phishing for emails to make sure that our teachers aren't clicking, they're training our teachers to see if they click on these fake things. That happened today too. Ironically, so that was interesting. Everybody was
The antennas were up.
at 10 0. What's going on? That's all I got for my.
Thank you very much. Ms. Kraft.
So January is a busy month. It's the end of the month right after the end of the calendar year. So we're doing a lot of tax filing. And Q2 grant reporting. So just administrative tasks being done throughout the month. Nothing exciting to remember.
Thank you. Any board reports? Okay, we do have closed session this evening. For the purpose of collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or their representatives, or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees, 5 ILCS 120/2C2. Is there a motion to go into closed session for that purpose?
I moved to go into closed session.
Second.
All in, roll call, please.
Jennifer Quigley,
Yes.
Chris Hamilton,
Yes.
Erica Peterson,
Yes.
Jillian Phelps, John Ruggles, Fred Stepson,
Yes.
and Lisa Booster.
Yes.
All right, we will not be taking any action after we return, so we are going to stop the live feed now.